Make media.
Hello, Make Media. This is Richard again, and I'm going to show you how to do a trim edit with Premiere Pro. Okay, the first thing is we want to find one of our clips, and let's go with this one that's called Cemetery. Shows up in a source file. So notice I got the clip, I double-clicked on it, double-clicked. When I did, it shows up in what's called the source window, which is a window that will display information about the clips. Now, what I can do is I can actually do a trim edit in this window, and a trim edit is the simplest kind of edit, which just means I'm going to cut stuff off the front or the back or stretch them out. So in this case, let's say, and you can only stretch them out as long as the clip was that you actually captured. So if I captured a clip that's 2 minutes, I can't make it any longer than 2 minutes because the rest of it's on the tape somewhere. But if I made it shorter at some point in editing, I can stretch it back out later. So I can play this then in the source window like that. And let's say we get up to this point and I want to stop. I want to start the movie there. So I can set end point, or I want to start the clip there. So it shows all the part that's going to play, and it's not going to play this part at the beginning once I drag it down to the timeline. Okay, let's say I move this along a little bit and gets to this point here, and I want to stop it there, let's say. Well, then I can set the out point here with this guy. And now I can grab this and drag it down into my timeline. So see, this is a layer on the timeline. Shows the video and the audio, and this clip is now it's not gonna play as the entire clip. It's only gonna play this little part here. And I could so you can see that if I play it. Now, in order to play what's down here, which is going to represent the actual movie, I can look to the sequence, or I'm sorry, the program window. So we have the source window, which shows the clip, and the program window, which shows the entire movie as you have it so far. So you can play it, and you can see that it actually starts with the part in the movie where I began or ended my cut. Okay, so now if I take this video and say I want to actually edit it further, what I can do now that it's down the timeline is I can actually edit on the timeline. First thing is this may be too little and I can't really see what's going on, in which case I can make it bigger. So I can make the timeline represent a shorter period of time, which makes the clip bigger. And of course the disadvantage is it also takes up more of the timeline. So you can move this back and forth depending on whether you want to see the entire movie or you want to focus in on one clip or what have you. Okay, so now let's say I want to do a trim edit down here. Well, as long as I have this arrow key selected, which is the default, when I get to the end of a clip like this, it makes this weird little icon. When it does, it means it's in a position where you can actually trim the clip. So I can move it up to where I have the timeline indicator. And the thing about that timeline indicator is notice that it actually locks to wherever that indicator is. So you can find the place where you want to end your clip with this timeline by playing it, and it'll move with this. I'm not sure what it's called, but let's just call it the timeline thingy. And so then I can actually move it again and it'll lock to that clip. And the lock button is here, so if you want to unlock it, which is usually you don't want to, but sometimes it's helpful if you're trying to move files a tiny bit or move clips a tiny bit and it wants to lock and you don't want it to. So I actually edited it even further. So now it starts, I can look up here, it starts with the flowers, right? Okay, now the other thing I mentioned that you can actually stretch it out. Well, the truth is this is the clip as it exists now, but the real clip that we captured is longer. So what that means is if I want to at any given point, I can just stretch it out down here, and I can stretch it as far as it goes up to the point where it actually gets to the length of the original clip that I captured. So that's trim editing in a nutshell. You can set an in point or out point up here, and down below you can just move it either way depending on the length of the actual original source file, and that's another way that you can do a trim edit in Premiere Pro.
Make media.